Hello friends and welcome into NFL Daily. I am your host Tom Downey, back in with another 7-round team mock draft, this time for the Cleveland Browns, who are once again picking inside the top 10. Now, they have some notable needs this offseason, specifically on the offensive line. They've gone through another front office and a head coaching change, but that offensive line will desperately need help, be it in free agency or in the NFL draft. Now, for this 7-round mock draft, we ran it through the Draft Network Simulator. Now, as of right now, there are no compensatory picks included. The Browns probably won't get any, but there is a trickle-down effect. So just keep that one in mind as we go through this Cleveland Browns 7-round mock draft. At round 1, pick number 10, I've got Tristan Wirfs, the offensive tackle out of Iowa, going to the Cleveland Browns. He is an absolute mauler in the run game. And oh, by the way, he's only 21 years old. He's still very young, still developing. He's a very good athlete for his size. Now, there is some buzz and speculation out there in the draft world that maybe you want to move him inside to guard. I don't think that's the route to go. I know there are length concerns. I'm going to keep him at right tackle. He was great in that role for Iowa. Why would I want to move away from that? And if I'm Cleveland, I need offensive line help really almost across the board. I'm fine with my center. I'm fine with my left guard. Greg Robinson's a free agent. Chris Hubbard, whatever going forward. I'll bring in my right tackle. I'll play Wirfs there. If I need to kick him inside the guard, I can do that. But I'm going to keep him on the right side of the offensive line at right tackle. I think he's a great fit for the Cleveland Browns, especially given who else was on the board. Now, we got 5 guys here. I do want to make note, Jedrick Wills, the tackle out of Alabama, Mekhi Becton, the offensive tackle out of Louisville, Javon Kinlaw, and Derek Brown were actually the previous 4 picks. So tackle, both offense and defense, went off the board quickly. It kind of came down to me between Andrew Thomas and Tristan Wirfs. I like Wirfs more, so I went with him, and I solidified the Browns' right tackle position. Of course, this is just one of the many routes the Cleveland Browns could go. So let me know in the comments section who you want the Browns to take in round 1. I will make this the pinned comment of the video. So you're here with an ad break here on YouTube. Scroll on down and cast your votes right there. A stunner in round 2 on the board, Grant Delpit. I know, look, it's a simulation. Some funny things happen. If I'm Cleveland and I see Grant Delpit there at number 41 overall, I am all aboard that one, and I am running to the podium with that selection. Now, there is a reason why he could fall on draft night. I would be a bit surprised if he fell to 41, but look, crazy things happen. It's the NFL draft. It's because of the tackling. Grant Delpit, how do I put this delicately, is bad at it. He's a really bad tackler, and even though you can maybe blame some of this year's on his shoulder and on some other issues he had injury-wise, he wasn't that great in 2018 either. But he is a playmaker, and he was still much better in 2018 than he was in 2019, but he has all the traits and the career production and the skill set you're looking for out of a true free safety. And at 41 overall, despite the tackling issues, Cleveland could get back-to-back steals in round 2 with LSU defensive backs. Of course, you got greedy at cornerback there. We'll see what happens with Morgan Burnett long-term. Demarius Randall's a free agent. Safety is a need for the Cleveland Browns. Getting Grant Delpit in round 2, I think that's almost a dream scenario for the Cleveland Browns. Now, there were other players on the board who I considered. Jeff Gladney was one of them, a cornerback. I like him. I was surprised he fell. Josh Uche and Cesar Ruiz, both Michigan men. Uche would be a great fit as a pass rusher. Ashton Davis might be a more realistic target in round 2, but I'm not going to take him over Grant Delpit. Maybe if you want to go linebacker, I know how you Browns fans like your Ohio State players. I will mention Malik Harrison was also on the board. Speaking of steals, I can help you guys out with some Cleveland Browns gear. It's chatsports.com/NFL sale. That link will take you to a wide variety of NFL gear. And yes, there is plenty of Browns gear on sale as well. I'm talking t-shirts, I'm talking hats, hoodies, jerseys, all kinds of stuff is on sale at chatsports.com/NFL sale. Check the description and check the comments as well. I've got the link in there for you, so all you guys have to do is click and shop. All right, on now to round 3, pick number 74, Jonathan Greenard, the edge rusher out of Florida. He transferred in from Louisville, and I was very impressed. Now, he's not going to be the same guy you saw in week 1, when he just absolutely torched the offensive lineman that he played in that rather ugly game. But he is solid against the run. Now, he doesn't have great burst or bend off the edge, and that will push him down maybe into that late mid-day 3 range. The production at Florida is impressive. 16 tackles for loss, 10 sacks. He isn't the biggest guy, so I'm not sure how much he can consistently kick inside the defensive tackle, but I think there is some possibility for that. You're getting Myles Garrett back, thank goodness for the Cleveland Browns. Olivier Vernon has, I'd say, maybe one more year max as a member of this team. I'm not a huge Chad Thomas fan. You could use defensive tackle depth as well, but Cleveland's MO historically, and I think this will stay the case, given that it is kind of a return for Andrew Berry, is they like to find edge guys who can kick inside. Chad Thomas can do that. I think Greenard, who isn't as big as you might want in that role, can still bring pressure off the edge, and that is still a need for the Cleveland Browns. Plus, I really like the value, and of the guys left on the board, I'm not going to take a running back this early, but I like the value for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Cameron Dantzler's a fun outside corner, but I might be looking more for a nickel if I'm Cleveland. Bradley and I'll take Greenard over him. Trey Adams does fill a need at left tackle, but I've got some massive medical questions around him. You could go sneaky here and pick a tight end if you don't trust David Njoku. You did just cut Demetrius Harris as well, but I'm not going to take Thaddeus Moss over Jonathan Greenard. Now we're going through a Brown 7-round mock draft, but if we haven't done your favorite team, let us know. Shout out your favorite team in the comments section. Heck, if we get enough votes, maybe we'll do one of your teams next. We've also got some more coming down the pipeline as well. The Falcons, the Dolphins, the Seahawks, and the Eagles are all coming up in our 7-round mock draft series. But if you're not on there, go ahead and shout out your favorite team in the comments section. All right, round 3, the other round 3 pick for the Cleveland Browns, pick number 90. I got another starter on the offensive line, Damian Lewis, who is at his best as a run blocker. Now, his technique, specifically his base, he gets a little wide and he just can't recover if he gets beat in that regard. He needs work in pass protection. But because he's a good run blocker, and frankly, that's a rather fixable issue for him, I think he can be an early starter in the NFL at right guard, the role he played quite well at LSU. Now, I know some Browns fans like Wyatt Teller, and I liked him too, coming out of Virginia Tech, and the Browns did a traded for him. But if I'm in Cleveland, I know I have to upgrade my offensive line. I can't assume Wyatt Teller is going to be good enough. If I can get a really good player where I got him, round 3 pick number 90, I like that fit a lot for Damian Lewis. Some others who are on the board, fun fact, the only carryover from pick number 74 down to number 90 was actually Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Jason Strowbridge would fit kind of that defensive end, defensive tackle hybrid. Another corner and Mick Robertson, and then 2 linebackers, Evan Weaver and Akeem Davis-Gaither, who maybe we'll talk about here in just a second. But first, today's show is brought to you by BetDSI. So if you want to bet on the XFL, for those of you still watching that, if you want to bet on March Madness, heck, if you want to get on some NFL Combine prop bets, we'll make a ton of money together on that one. Head over to BetDSI. It's chatsports.com/bet. That URL takes you right into the BetDSI site. Use promo code NFL120. That will give you a 120% deposit bonus. So you put down $100, boom, extra 120 in your account to bet with for free. All right, round 4, now we move into day 3. Akeem Davis-Gaither. Now, this is still a good 15 picks later, but I love the value here. And we'll see what happens with Joe Schobert in free agency. But I still like the idea of adding Davis-Gaither. Now, he is undersized. He's almost built more like a safety than he is a linebacker. But he had success as a blitzer this year. Really kind of lined up everywhere. He lined up at various points this year as an edge rusher, as a slot corner, as a free safety, as a strong safety, even outside as a corner, which actually kind of sounds a little bit like Isaiah Simmons. And Davis-Gaither this year had some great production. 101 tackles, 14.5 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, 8 pass breakups. He did everything for App State. The size is a big red flag, but quite frankly, I would be surprised if he made it out of the top 100 picks. He did for the mock draft simulation, so Browns, I got you guys some value. I know you guys invested in linebacker last year. I love the value for Mack Wilson. I like Taki as well. We'll see how much longer Schobert and or Kirksey are on the team beyond just the 2020 season, looking like 2021, 2022. The value for Davis-Gaither was just a little bit too great for me to not take for Cleveland. And with Schobert being a free agent, I thought it made sense to kick Kirksey or Wilson into the middle linebacker slot. And I think Davis-Gaither fits in best as a weak side linebacker. Other players on the board here, I really thought about Troy Pride. I think he could be a great fit as the number 3 corner for the Browns. That's what it kind of came down to, was Pride versus Davis-Gaither, because I picked Davis-Gaither over Evan Weaver. Anthony McFarland, running back depth is a need. We'll get to that in a little bit. I thought about Harrison Bryant, but I think the Browns can address tight end maybe more in free agency. And then also Ben Bredesen was there on the offensive line. Now, we went over my 5 biggest needs for the Browns earlier, but I want to hear from you guys. What do you think is the Cleveland Browns' single biggest need? Before you even say it, players only, so do not include ownership as one of the needs for the Cleveland Browns. It's positions only there. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. We jump now down to round 6. You're not going to find starters here. I can't fill every need, guys. I'm sorry, I've only got 7 picks to play with. But Antonio Gibson, I kind of feel like I'm getting an extra pick with him because he can do so many things for you. Now, he has not played much in his college career, just 77 career touches on offense at Memphis. But much like Tony Pollard last year, Gibson was this awesome hybrid of receiver, running back, and dynamic special teams player as well. It is a limited sample size in terms of production, but 11.2 yards per carry is insane. That's not going to be repeatable in the NFL, obviously, but that screams home run threat. And then in the receiving game, 38 grabs for 735 yards. It was crazy how good Antonio Gibson was at being a big play threat. Now, maybe he plays receiver. I think you're still going to involve him in the running game, just like Tony Pollard was. And for Cleveland, who could use some more depth at receiver, you don't really have a Duke Johnson replacement. Antonio Gibson can be that guy. That's exactly what I picture him being for Cleveland. You have Nick Chubb. He, of course, is your star number 1 back. Kareem Hunt is on the roster for now. He got in trouble again, and he's an RFA. Dontrell Hiller, Dearness Johnson, those guys don't move the needle at all. Bring in Gibson. He can be your return guy. He can give you some slot receiver reps. He can be a backup in the backfield as well. That is fantastic value in round 6. All right, some others who were on the board: Josiah DeGara, the tight end out of Cincinnati, along with his teammate Michael Warren Jr., another running back option. Lavert Hill had strong consideration for me as a slot corner. Tommy Kramer, Khalil Davis, some more options there on the interior of the offensive and defensive line, respectively. All right, round 7, the final pick here for the Cleveland Browns. I went with Charlie Heck. First off, fun name. He is just massive. He is 6'8", over 300 pounds. Did not allow a sack at UNC last year. 13 hurries, though. So you go, wait, how's a 6'8" guy on the board in round 7? Well, the UNC offense kind of covered up some of his issues, and that's why there were no sacks. Biggest one being he plays too tall. He gets out leveraged and doesn't actually move all that well, so the college production isn't going to translate as easily as it will to the NFL. Had a rough going at the Senior Bowl, but in round 7, as a developmental left tackle, absolutely worth the risk. Some others on the board that I want to mention: Robert Landers, if you want to go defensive line. I thought about him the most out of anyone on this group. Jeff Thomas could be a fun piece, but I'm not sure he's going to get drafted just because the production consistency was really not there at Miami. So grade this mock draft, Browns fans. A, B, C, D, or F. If you hate it, of course, go ahead and give it an F. Look, we'll recap it here in a second, but I thought I did a pretty damn good job for the Cleveland Browns. I thought I got great value for you guys. I'm giving it an A. Cast your votes, and if you forget, we'll recap it for you guys. Tristan Wirfs off the board in round 1. I have solidified my right tackle hole. Grant Delpit, fantastic value in round 2. Was surprised he slid, jumped all over it. Now I got a legit free safety. Jonathan Greenard will probably be a rotation guy in year 1. Could become a starter, though, across from Myles Garrett in year 2 or year 3. I think the value is right at pick number 74. Damian Lewis, I think potentially a year 1 starter at right guard. I took care of 2 of my huge areas of need on the offensive line. Then more value after that. Akeem Davis-Gaither, maybe you bring back Joe Schobert, maybe you don't. Either way, he can help you out in a variety of ways as a chess piece on defense. The same is true for Antonio Gibson, a running back, wide receiver, return man hybrid out of Memphis, much like Tony Pollard. Great value there in round 6. And then the developmental guy in round 7, big body, needs to work on his ability to, knock it out, leveraged every single play. Charlie Heck, the offensive tackle out of UNC.